Yeah, I don't know if you want to say something about that. I don't want to talk too much, but I just had I think it's related to what she's saying. It's related to the budget form. I think one of the things that they're going to say, and that the chancellor has been saying, is that we've been trying to defend education, right? We've been, we have lobbyists who go to Sacramento, and I don't know what they do exactly, but they're supposed to advocate for us. Whatever they have been doing has clearly not worked. Whatever supposedly they have been doing to stand up for us, and I'm not saying that I don't fully know what it means, what it means for us to have lobbyists in Sacramento, but the fact of the matter is that it has not worked. And Ron also talks, the chancellor also talks about the UCs and the CSUs having more, he's sort of, it's almost like he's trying to pit us against the other systems when he says that the other systems get funded more than we do. And yet, look at what's happening in the other systems. Having they have more lobbyists, he says. Many of you want to transfer, right? Or or going to go to one of these schools. You're going to be paying higher fees, smaller class. SF State, because of the budget cuts, doesn't have a functioning library. Okay? It's under construction, and they had to stop construction. Like, So we have to now think outside of the box. We've basically been forced to build sort of an independent movement that essentially demands it. This is our history. Actually, EOPS, the EOPS program, was founded out of the student strikes. The students, so actually these tactics of walking out and being in solidarity with each other and being defiant, that is actually the main way that we won gains in the past.
Let me ask you a question. How many of you are registered to vote?
Yeah.
How many of you actually vote? That's what you need to do. You need to go and protest, but then when it comes time to elect officials, you need to actually show up to vote. Okay, so just going and protesting is only part of it. If somebody doesn't fulfill the promises that they make to you, then you need to get them out of office.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question about, it's not, I don't know if it's completely related to the budget cut, but I've noticed a lot, there's this big construction over here. You just said that there was something constructed, the library at SF State. Why are all these things being constructed if we don't have enough money for the education?
So
I don't know if the construction is using that money, but I don't know who's making that decision. Is it the district or?
Yeah, all these construction money is bond money, so they decided to build all these buildings 3-4 years ago.
Right.
And so the money for all these buildings are there, and it's been decided to be built now.
And the law mandates that you cannot spend the money on anything else but the building of facilities. So the state law.
Exactly. My view is a little different than yours, out of full respect. We can demand anything we want, and if we're powerful enough, we get what we want. I don't care what the law says. I'm not saying we're not violating the law by demanding something that's socially just. But it is more complex, and that is what you say is one of the part of it. Some of the money for actually new construction, because this became an issue at FSU, was that they have a whole wing of a building that's being built completely with stimulus money. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't raise this as a profile. For instance, the plans for spending money 5 years from now is already in the works by the same yahoos that are screwing us now. We should demand that no new construction. Right now, they stop it. They put a moratorium on new construction. The reason they do the new construction is because there's a whole tax thing that these companies, that from community colleges all the way up to UCs get. When they can add a building, they get corporate grants, they get tax write-offs for the corporations. It's really, to a certain degree, there's a tremendous amount of corruption for it. And you have to understand the whole UC system now, the whole university system, thinks that there shouldn't be any subsidized tuition. They think that you guys should all take out loans. And that's how we're going to subsidize it, with some general contributions from the corporations. This has got to stop. So even though we can't specifically say, stop the building right here, we can have a position that says, this is wrong. That you're doing this is wrong, you should be ashamed. That you should do everything you can to change the law. And that takes a long time. That's an elected thing. It's something down the road. But that's the problem, is that the elected, I mean, I agree with you. What Michael said was very important. People I know talk a little circularly around this. So many of the games, in fact, a large part of the community college system itself, were built completely outside the governmental, the elections and everything. We had H.I. Ayakawa, who was a hated students, hated people, hated humanity at San Francisco State University. We had Ronald Reagan as governor, very anti-working class governor, hated unions, just, was racist. He fought the ethnic studies classes. So how did we win? We did talk to them. They didn't listen. Democrats and Republicans united in abstaining from getting involved with us. This is in the 60s and early 70s. The UC Berkeley students went out on strike for 2 months in 1969. No classes for 2 months. Why? Because they understood that the fight that they were fighting, part of a broader movement of civil rights that was going on at the time, and Vietnam was the only way they were going to win. Guess what? They won. They won everything they went out on strike for. Now, I'm not advocating that. So when we roll this back a little bit to today, if we had a teaching where we cancel the classes for 2 hours in the middle of the day, or something like that, or we turn all the classes for 1 day into an action, is something out of the control of Sacramento. They don't want to see a repeat of what happened 40 years ago. They're deadly afraid of it. That's why you don't hear much from the politicians. Except generally, oh yeah, the budget cuts were unfortunate. The people who are making the decisions are saying, in Sacramento, are saying the same thing you're going to hear tomorrow. We have no choice. Because they don't want to take the political steps that's necessary. And the only way to get anything in this country, that's why the Bill of Rights exists, is for us to go out and protest. And it might seem impotent, oh, you're just signing there with signs. No, it has a profound political effect. Jackie Spear, our congresswoman, who used to sit in Sacramento, who helped set up the situation that we're in today. She's a progressive, she's pro-union. She is responsible for this, and she's in Congress now, and she's not saying anything. And her office is in San Mateo. So there's a lot of things we can do that don't...
The main branch of the government that can borrow money freely is the federal government. And they gave a little bit of money to the states and localities, but it wasn't that much. And that's, if we're looking, one of the ways to look for quick relief, budgetary-wise, would be if the federal government gave more. But the federal government's stance right now is, oh, we have too big a budget deficit, so we can't afford to spend more on jobs or on education or things like that. But again, it's a question of priorities. The Obama administration has decided to send 30,000 more troops to Afghanistan. Each soldier going to Afghanistan costs over $1 million a year. So if you looked at that budget thing, we need, we're looking at 1.7, whatever, I can't remember the exact number, $1 million of cuts next year. That's 2 U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan.
Because not only it's affecting, but like, not only it's affecting U.S. citizens, like people that were born here like me, and I said this at the last meeting, but it's also affecting people. It's also affecting the AB 540 students that do not even qualify for financial aid, and they don't even qualify for ELPS. None of the services that we have here, they don't even qualify. And a lot of them try to come to school, but what happens? They try to come, and then when they find out they don't qualify for all these services, they stop coming. And not only they stop coming to school, but it's hard for them to find a job. And I'm telling you, all those people in San Francisco that you see on 24th Mission, all those people right there, those people are students. Some of them are like our age that don't even try to go to school, but they can't because all those services that they don't qualify. So basically, I'm here to defend not only you guys, but I'm trying to help out the AB 540.